You can't tell me you don't love the intro, right?
I love that way better. I love this one better. This is more you.
Yes. Yes. It's
Yeah.
kind of, I like, what? I found that beat and I was like, oh, yeah, that's
It
me.
was all about the beat. It's all about the
The
beat.
beat, I don't know, the beat is what, okay, it kind of gets you ready for the show. It's like,
Of
okay,
course.
what are we doing now, right? So I enjoy that. I think that's my favorite. So this is the after party in politics with Hamden Action Now on our YouTube channel. So we are here to talk about the fact that, yes, could you imagine Harry had his nerve? I'm calling him Harry now because we're on a first name basis.
Oh
You're
God.
on
Harry.
Hamden Action Now on Facebook, you're Representative Aurora, but on YouTube, you're Harry, just so you know.
Good old Har.
Can
Well,
you imagine the nerve of
back
this
home he
guy?
would be Harish. I wonder if his real name is Harish. I need to find that
Maybe.
out. And I wanna just touch on something really quick about East Indian culture and here, because that's to me the biggest irony and insult. That someone from East India would not be supportive of the Care Act, of the Care Act. You hear me? The Crown Act. I'm tired. I'm sorry. Not the Care
It's all
Act.
right.
That's
Well, I'm
important too.
glad.
The Crown Act. I'm sorry. That was me being tired. I'm tired. But it's been a long week. It really has been a long week because we've been up dealing with this thing. But going back to that in East India, it is all right, you laughing at me. It is a thing. The hair is a thing because in certain regions of India, you'll see hair differences much like here, right? If you live in the more wooded areas, the forestry, see, back where we're from, what you find is, meaning East India and Trinidad, really it's the upper crust who get to live in the city, and the poor people live wherever they could find land. So in those areas, you find that you'll find tribes and you'll find women going to great lengths to preserve their hair using herbs and oils because hair loss is a real thing for women. And also in the city, I was thinking about that earlier. You'd find that the professional look, see, that's what they call it, to look professional. It means you have to have your hair in a certain fashion, right? You can't wear your hair naturally, really, is what that means. So you got to come to work. Like I remember when I used to work um, at a bank right here in Connecticut, and it's a pretty renowned bank. And the first time that I wore my hair in its natural form, which I've told you this before, but not many outside of us would know, my scalp is it gets really oily really quick. So part of the reason why, and the biggest reason, actually the reason why, let me take all of that back. Good Lord, I'm tired. I'm tired of that. And I'm drinking tea, so I'll probably fall asleep in a few minutes. But no, I won't.
Yes, we won't keep you
Um,
long.
no, I'm fine. Orange peel tea is the bomb. But part of the reason why I started flat ironing my hair is because it helped my scalp breathe. But I would prefer to not have to do that, when I'm home, or if it like this weekend it's a long weekend, I'll wash it and just let it be. But when I was working at the bank, I remember once I did that. I went into work and I hadn't done my hair. And the lady looked at me like, "What happened to your hair?" And I was like, "This is my hair." And she's like, "You have curly hair?" Oh my God. And this happened in Wallingford. So going back to Harish, which I'm pretty sure that's his given name, it is an insult to our East Indian heritage that he spat upon that particular bill, because he should know, since he's so versed and educated, the ancestry that goes with that. And it's crazy because he referred to the sheiks and them having to wear, them wanting to wear their headwear and that not being allowed. Then you would think he would be even more supportive
Yeah,
of
because he
it.
said he was a Sikh.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So I found it so insulting in so many levels, and we didn't even touch the misogynistic side yet, because,
No.
quite frankly, he seems like one of those men who salivate over white women in secret. Like, I don't know what happens when he goes to the bathroom, but I'm going to assume that he has a good time thinking about all the white women he thinks he could conquer, because he's so gross, you know. Ugh, ugh.
I just think the part that was so horrific for me, in addition to the hair, because I suffer from my own hair condition, is the fact that he was trying to outwit and out academic everybody. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
just won't forget Jason Ortiz. I got to try to track him down and see if he can come talk with us and give us his perspective, because
Yes.
he was like, "Do you know about this study?" And here's, "Do you know about this study?" Like, dude, can you ask
Wait a
a
minute.
question that's related?
Exactly. And then here's the thing with that, though. How I received that was he really pushed the caricature of what an East Indian should be, meaning quite learned, quite educated. He kept referencing STEM programs. He kept talking when they
Right.
were discussing all the benefits, and he's like, nope, it should be about STEM, STEM, police, police, police. And, you know, really going back to the education piece, when the other gentleman came to testify, and he was from East India, so like he was trying to bring him back home, like, no, don't do that. That's too
Mhm.
that's too American, you know. Now you're getting brainwashed, when he in fact is the one who has been completely whitewashed. Because at the end of the day, and you don't have to be a Republican to feel this way, if you're a black or brown person in particular, and you think that following this type of rhetoric, whether you're Democrat or Republican, because let's just talk the truth and shame the devil, there are Democrats who, black and brown ones, who profess these same things. I mean, look at what happened after George Floyd. We had black people showing up to the protest right out at Hamden Town Hall. You remember
Mhm.
that?
They had the Blue Lives Matter.
Yes,
Let's holler about that for a minute. You know,
right. No, that's what I
so
mean.
yeah.
I said, yeah, in saying the protest, because it was a protest against Black lives. And that's
Mhm.
what people need to understand when these Blue Lives Matter protests happens. That's not police, you know, uh, protesting for us. That's for them to be more aggressive, more, you know, more
Yeah,
of a policeman.
that's for them. That's a rite of passage for them to unilaterally usurp their force.
That's right.
Um, and
Excessive force once again.
right. It's just a cry. It's a decry to say that we should go and usurp our force without, with impunity. We don't
Mhm.
have to have any accountability.
No,
Um,
and we're going to
and,
get
and
public
people who
support.
And if people who support that, you got to get them on the side eye. You got to be like, okay, so
Mm,
why would you support any profession in the United States
right,
to be able to operate with impunity?
right.
Why
And to
would this
glorify it.
profession be the only one that can just operate and they don't need any rules?
Well, and you know, it's funny because going back to that, that's what I meant. Like, you know, you have these same black and brown people showing up to the Blue Lives Matter rallies or protests, however they decide to call it. You know, they
Mhm.
call it a protest, and we need to think about why they're calling it a protest. See,
Right.
when
It's not.
it's not, no, well, wait a minute, it is. They're protesting against our liberty and our equality. That's what they're doing. They're saying, no, no, we must be able, as you just said, to abuse our privilege. And you know,
Yes.
he dropped that word too. He dropped the word privilege a couple times. He dropped the word privilege. He dropped the word minorities. That man, Harish, you are a coon. You are a coon, boy. And like all other coons, you are a house Negro, and
Yes.
you have a time limit. You have an expiration date. So I don't know if you know that, but you're gonna find out, because what's gonna happen is that um, your water is gonna run dry. Is what I see coming. But we need to get people to really see this for what it is. I mean, Rhonda, I feel like the same energy people have to tell me, you know, what club to go to, what dance to go to, what show is
Yeah.
on, you know, Basketball Wives and this show and that show. You need to show up, not just one time. You know, not just when it's trending. Make it a trend. Make it a trend that we want to reverse this and end this and have some real change. And I love that Robin mentioned that they are having conversation now about how these hearings should be handled. Because the
You
other thing is,
cannot.
right? Because we all, well, you and I and whoever else is watching know that as far as if you are involved in this work, because it is work, as Barbara always says, she's right. And the reason why is because had it not been for COVID and the restrictions, there would have been people in that building. And I doubt highly if we were all physically there, he would have done that, because that's the difference between the two. And that's why people need to make this a huge, this needs to be big, 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 because we're not, I don't know where Justin Ehrlicher got his news from or information, because clearly whoever he gets his data from is not reliable. They didn't even know how many nurses to keep, none of that. But he happens to think that COVID is coming to an end soon. And you see, all of this is part of the lies, the narrative that oppresses us, right? And we need to see that and know that and call it for what it is and recognize, you know, something, they might decide to continue having public testimonies virtually. We don't know that. They might say, you know what, it actually worked out to be better to do it this way, because we didn't have a ton of people hoarding the building and protesters outside. So we need to think about those parts too, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that we
I'll have some tea.
have to continue to grow this coalition,
Yeah.
because the Harishas of the world, and I'm going to put up the picture because I want to make sure everybody
Put
can
this on
see
because
who
I'll
we're
spit it
talking.
out.
Yes,
Show
we're
us
going to put the
Harish.
picture.
Where's Harish?
There he is.
Oh! See, this is why you needed to have some. That looks so comical. You need to run
That's
it
on
back.
his face. That's on his page for the 151st General Assembly District. You know, Harry Aurora, and this is his picture. So I just copied and pasted. I mean, like, this is where we live, you know.
Could you post
And
in one of the comments?
this is the
Yes.
rhetoric that he endorsed. I know it's over my face, and that's fine. You know, I'm right here. But you know, I'm right here. But I mean, this is the rhetoric that was being endorsed. I mean, you know, to say she always
A
was
wig is
disrespectful.
in the shop. Oh God, that line right there.
That line,
Woo!
that line just gets me. That gets me. And that's why I had to put this graphic up, because I needed everybody to see that, you know, this is the hateful rhetoric, the hateful and vicious rhetoric that they think is cute. This is what
Well, it's
caused an
gonna go past
insurrection.
that. Wait, there you go. Because here's the thing. We both know that insurrection was not it was planned, and it started off in the same fashion.
It's been going on for years.
It was going on for years.
That was
They
overdue.
already knew it was overdue, and they already knew what they were gonna do if he lost. And they did it. And they did it in a way where they try to make it seem, I think that the intent was not met. I think that was, you know, because nothing was done or has been done. I mean, these people got guided out of it. Yeah.
One of the people in the impeachment managers today, I can't remember his name, but I heard it, and it was so on point too. He said, if we don't have accountability, if Donald Trump has no consequences for what he did, he said, and we allow him to run again, he goes, I'm not worried if he runs again in 2024 and he wins. I'm scared of what's going to happen if he loses again.
That's it.
And I was like, oh, you know what? That's right on point. Because guess what happened? Because you know what? These people are going back to wherever they were, and they're buying more military grade weapons, which you can buy.
Well, there's an ammunition shortage. There's an ammunition shortage. And, you know, people need to understand, what does that mean? Listen, let me just say this. I'm going to keep bringing it up because it pisses me off. What happened to the Yale student, I'm not going to say he deserved it. Nobody deserves that.
No.
Okay. However, somewhere, somehow, by the grace of white Jesus, Mayor Ehrlicher and Chief Reyes found the money, the time, and the resources to do a prompt investigation foot an award that they somehow found from Fed money. Somewhere it rained. We don't even know who murdered Jorge Mappa. We don't know who murdered Kmart Tanner. There's so many unsolved mysteries, killings, all of that happened right here in New Hornville. Who pays the price for Yale's existence? So I found it an insult to the black
Oof.
and brown people, the working poor and the poor, okay?
And the victimized families.
There you go. The families. And then you have that piece. And then we have this white guy who is running around on social media with he shows up to the scene of a crime before the wind blows down the street. Before the wind even blows down the street, he's there. How is he getting there so fast? But you know what they did though? They knew we were all going to be home. And they knew that they being the powers that the decision makers. And they said, we got to control the natives. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to show them our version of themselves, meaning we're going to criminalize the poor and the working poor. That's what they did. And it worked. And it's working. And in the same fashion, here comes Harish. And he is, blasphemous in existence, period. He's boisterous, he's aggressive, he's misogynistic, he's sexist, he's racist, he's a lot of ist. But he gets support and he gets respected for this right here in Connecticut. And people need to know that there was somebody from Connecticut flying that flag like a napkin.
Proudly. And I'm so
happy
somebody got that picture and put that all on social media. And then we found out that the Stanford Republicans and the Greenwich Republicans, Aurora, Greenwich, they were the ones on the bus.
Show us pictures in case anybody forget. Let's see this.
Just in case anybody forgets, let's just throw it up there again.
Let's just throw it up here again.
I see you, bro. I see you.
Harish. And I bet you he exploited the community too. Because who is he? He's talking about business savvy. And this is why in our conversation with Robin, I brought up the nonprofits, because it would be one hell of a thing if the nonprofits stand up and say, you cannot do this to her. You cannot do this to her. They are supposed to be representing the working poor and the poor. They should be right next to her saying, and the unions. You see what I mean? Because we caught this time. But can we just think about what was going on before? What do you think?
Right. It's terrible. And if you let Donald Trump off, if we let Representative Aurora or Harish off.
Harish, yes.
It'll be, all of them will be after Robin. She'll never get anything done.
Well, she won't even be bothered. Marjorie Taylor Greene. To me, it's the same thing.
They let her off. Yes. Oh, we stripped her committee assignment. You are peddling conspiracy theories. You're peddling theories about killing. You said Democrats should be assassinated. You should resign from Congress.
Right.
It's a dereliction of duties for you to even be there. You're violating your oath.
Right.
And so is Harish. He violated his oath of office on last week because only people he was representing was himself and the Greenwich constituents. He don't want to hear from anybody else.
Well, not just them, but the Republicans. He was representing the Republicans.
And then when you hear what Robin said,
outside the state.
Right, and when you heard what Robin said, that was his point. Well, we didn't get our bills, so we're going to come over here and be just nothing and disrupt. We're just going to disrupt. No, we're not having that. We're not going that route. So, I wanted us to have a little after talk on YouTube, because we're really trying to grow our YouTube followers, because Facebook has also been problematic since the beginning.
Oh my God.
Constantly, constantly putting people in, jail, constantly putting you in all kinds of restrictions because you can't say certain words before you set off the alarms. and Mark Zuckerberg and his hypocrisy. Let me use that word because he's a hypocrite.
Yes.
You know, he wants to now start to say, "Oh, you can't say this," but you allowed QAnon and the three presenters and Oath Keepers, and the Ku Klux Klan say all of this for years. Y'all got caught on January 6th. Now suddenly we all go to Facebook jail.
Yes.
Guess what?
Well,
we're done with Facebook.
I serve time. I serve my bid. I'm always serving a bid. Like I can't even post on my own damn page. I don't even know why. I find out,
and it goes back. It goes back for months.
Yes.
Like Marnie Rogers, Hebron, had something. She was in Facebook jail for a whole month, and they said this was. And she goes, she thought maybe the thing was wrong. It said 2019. I was like, are they actually putting you in jail for something that you said in 2019? They sure were. I said, you know what? After that, I'm gonna wean myself over to Twitter and YouTube. Right. I'm all set.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is, I got this time, I should say, this bid I did was because the last bid was because I had a post about Hampden PD, West Haven PD, and New Haven PD calling them all the Ku Klux Klan because of their over policing and the use of excessive force after George Floyd. You know, they keep showing up to these rallies. And while we could take ownership for some of our behavior, it's a two-way thing. For every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. When you show up and you start kettling people, you're going to get people say, whoa, don't do that. I mean, come on. It's an instantaneous thing for us to want to protect each other. And now I have been serving, that bid, I'm on probation for that one. So I can't go live. So I was able, I'm on probation. But then I had to do some solitary there because when this nonsense happened with Horatio Aurora, his behavior, I actually said in a post, and this is what got me banned at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, that his behavior was blasphemous. I didn't even know that word could be against community standards. And I feel strongly that the Facebook censorship, Twitter has a problem too. I was actually looking up petitions because I started signing every single petition I could find. And I found out that Twitter has a problem as well. And this speaks to even a bigger problem in terms of censorship. Right here in New Haven, we're watching Darnell Golson being censored repeatedly, right? Why are words stinging you so hard if you're about change? Why?
Well, it's because, like I said, the bottom line is, they don't want change, but they want to change us. And I'm not going to have Mark Zuckerberg dictate to me what I say, because you're not going to now dictate to me now when you allowed all of this foolery to go on for all these months and all these years. So we will be developing our YouTube channel and our Twitter following, because I'm not going to, I just am really getting tired of that. That's annoying.
Well, can we talk about
the videos, the TikTok? Nobody even knows about. And how about those other platforms like Parler, who are like anything goes?
Right. Well, what about the fact that something I noticed throughout COVID from the very beginning, Facebook also censors COVID posts. I had a few of them that I had to do time for. So that time I couldn't bargain probation. They just threw me in jail for like a week.
Nobody even come visit.
Nobody visited. Nobody put money in my books. I had to sit here and figure this out. And actually, that's the other thing. I didn't get a notification. So what it was is that when COVID first started back last March, I found these. I went on YouTube and I found all this stuff about China and this big thing with Wuhan, and they're trying to figure out what is going on with this thing. And so I started to share about the coronavirus because we were just discovering it, but by the time we discovered it, they had discovered how it started to a certain extent. And it came down to the wet market. So there's all this talk about the wet market and how the Chinese government was trying to, prevent people from knowing what's going on because of various reasons. But anyhow, the moral of the story is I started posting knowledge about that. Those videos got banned. But then the people who were posting about COVID is fake, their stuff was okay. So Mark Zuckerberg, what are you really doing, bro? I think it's kind of obvious.
It's so that's the hypocrisy of it all.
Mm-hmm.
You can like you said. I mean, people were putting all kind of. I mean, there's look at him, the crime watchers.
Oh,
they're
God.
still doing it.
Tell them what they're doing for people who don't know, because some people don't know.
Well, that's gonna be my graphic on next week's show, because let me tell you what they just recently said.
They were just share. You can screen share it.
No, I don't. I gotta find it. It's on my phone, but I'm coming back with that one, because they're still doing it, and we have reported the page.
Let people know what it is.
Well, they're using this language on him, the crime watchers, that is encouraging vigilantism. They want to. They got pictures of barrels of guns. You come to my door, wrong house, asshole. I'm gonna shoot you.
Wait a minute.
Went away.
I don't know how it'll come out, but I think it's on my phone too. It's really bad. Like this guy's a nurse too. The one who posted the one about the gun barrel. I think he's a nurse. He's a nurse.
He works at I think Hartford Hospital or something like that. And it's like,
is it Hartford? Yeah.
Mark, where you at, bro?
Yeah.
Where you at? Shut the page down.
Now let's talk about that. Now this guy is on Hamden Crime Watchers, posting footage of a gun barrel, and basically saying, well, not basically, he was saying, here it goes, Joe Louisi, December 31st, 2020, only a matter of time until a theft, and he didn't even word it right.
Spell it right.
A theft ends up on the wrong doorstep, and the owner takes action. If nothing is done to put an end to these rampant acts, there will be an unfortunate result.
Oh, but Mark Zuckerberg says that's acceptable.
And he's an operating room registered nurse at Hartford Healthcare.
You really want that dude operating on you, and he is a racist Republican QAnon follower? No.
Oh, here it goes. It was Thomas Ruggiero. This was also back in December. Ruggiero. I don't even care how I pronounce his name. If the person is breaking and entering the wrong place at the wrong time, they're going to face the consequence, whatever that may be. Carrie Galadia, however you pronounce that, R.I.P. loser, and Harry O. Pozziani shows the gun barrel. And you're telling me this is okay, and this is happening on Hamden Crime Watchers. And I got kicked out, unfortunately, so sad, from being on that page because I asked one simple question, which was, is this the virtual meeting place for the Ku Klux Klan? Because when I saw all of this rhetoric, and then we see people who claim to be about the people and for the people, Black people up there, brown people up there, supporting this foolishness. This page has so many followers, it's ridiculous.
30,200.
And they show up to the police commissioners meetings too.
Oh no. You have on that page Mayor Kurt Lang. You got town council member Valerie Horsley. They have all brought credibility to the page.
Kim Washington did too.
But this is the hypocrisy of Facebook, because that kind of language, and I know people have reported that language, because I know I did. Still up though.
I did too. And I got a thing that they didn't find anything. So it's okay for him to have that page that promotes hate, right? And then violence. And then he started trolling us, right? Him and his people, because
oh my God.
Yes, a couple of the people in Hamden Crime Watchers tried to come into the Black and Brown United group page. We have the page for everyone, and then we have the private group, which is meant only for Black and brown people. And if you do not identify, you're not allowed to participate. I think that's fair. And they wrote me all these nasty messages. about this should be for everybody, if you're about equality. No. We need our space. And
Yes.
then the threats are coming. You know, they are inciting violence, and Harish Aurora is doing the same thing because he's sitting there. You are a brown person, okay? Like I started off with saying, if you look into East India and you study the culture, you would find that he should be really ashamed of himself for not understanding, respecting what the Crown Act is about. And he should also slap himself because in East India, marijuana come like me drinking this cup of tea. That ain't nothing. That's nothing. So why are you lying, Harry? And if we wanna talk about it even further, how many, no offense to the liquor store and corner store owners, would they require require and they might look like that too. And they own the rundown stores. I love the
I'm
time.
trying. Every time you get into a rant about Harry Aurora,
Courage.
he's coming back. I'm so tired of him.
Harish, come on. Harish, you know very well.
It seems like, he got to Greenwich and, he just assimilated.
Well, he said he's a businessman. He's Mr. Businessman, and I'm quite sure he owns a lot of businesses that are poorly ran. He exploits the community. He's probably one of those people who are
and his workers.
Yes, paying his workers nothing. I would love to know what his businesses are. I'm very curious. I should pay them a visit. I looked into it was Goldman's. His name pulled up under some business called Goldman's, I guess for stockbrokering, but it's closed. The page hasn't been updated.
Oh, Goldman Sachs. Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what I do know, I didn't look at it for too long because I needed something concrete. But if your own business page hasn't been updated since 2019, who the hell are you to tell people about your quote unquote expertise? And you asking Jason Ortiz his experience.
And he wanted to join the broadcast.
Okay. No, but I mean, you're sitting here interrogating Jason Ortiz and asking him if he knows the business of this and business of that.
Yes.
How do we know your business? Why didn't somebody needs to ask him for his resume?
And he starts talking all kind of crap.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah. Then he was like saying, "Oh well, we can't lay our hat on the cannabis business. There's all kind of businesses that we can bring to Connecticut. Why is that? Why are we even having that discussion? Ask the man the question.
Right.
You don't care, but if you want to bring other businesses to Connecticut, you're the lawmaker. You make it happen. That's not Jason Ortiz's responsibility.
Isn't this the point where the people come out and propose, and the act, what the legislators should be doing is listening, asking very concise questions, nothing that shows bias. It has to be neutral. It has to make sense. His responses were so personal. It was all about him.
Very personal, and trying to embarrass and act like the people who were submitting testimony didn't know what they were talking about.
That's right.
He was constantly trying to oh, well, did you think of this? Oh, well, listen, you're not a prosecutor. This is not litigation, and I'm not being cross-examined. Okay? No. That's not what that whole period is about. It's not about that. And that's what he made it about.
Right.
So I was furious.
He made it about himself. And you could tell, we were both listening from the beginning. I stuck around till I want to say 11 o'clock at night. Because after that point, I was like, I can't take anymore.
I couldn't take. I had to go eat and cook and do all the things.
Oh wow, we have a life. Look at that, Harry.
How about that?
How about that, Harry?
There he is.
I'm telling you.
It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to let you go. I enjoyed our session. Please invite people to like and follow our YouTube channel. We are so tired of Mark Zuckerberg and his foolishness, because he is such a hypocrite. Why I'm starting to boycott Facebook is because of the Hamden Crime Watchers page. As long as that page is allowed to be on Facebook, I'm going to be over at YouTube. So we're going to be rolling this direction. That's right.
Mark doesn't respect the First Amendment either, because really, neither did Harish. Harish did not respect the First Amendment at all.
Not
You
at
know,
all.
Black people and women deserve it. And shout out to Julie Kushner, Senator Julie Kushner, for sitting there because, she took that with stride and she had Robin's back. And I really appreciate her for that. And Hughes, I appreciate you too. Because
Oh
that
my
was hard.
God, I love Ann Hughes and
Yeah,
Julie Kushner. Amazing,
yeah,
amazing. Those are
yeah.
white allies. That's what it looks
That's what
like.
it looks like. That's right.
Valerie Horsley. That's what white allies look like, sis. Just so you know.
Well, I hope
On
we could
that
get
note, you have a wonderful
so
evening.
soon.
Good night, Harish.
Hey, Harish.
And good night. I will see you soon. We will
Yes,
come back
ma'am.
next Friday night.
That's all right. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Have a good night. Thank you.